Hi, hello. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of Valkyrie Epoch. Tonight we are bringing to an official close the Against the Aeon Throne adventure path. I just want to throw out there that this is first time I played this. It took that group just about a year to play through it all, and I want to say it's been it's been just over 6 months for us, maybe like 7.5, 8 months, something like that.
We
Which
kind of
Uh,
breezed right through it.
which is also
But
why
we
the
were playing
impressive.
weekly. Weekly is hard to come by.
Yeah.
yeah, when
With,
did we
but
start?
that was my last group too. It was weekly. It was, but yeah, it's been about 7.5, 8 months, which is also impressive when you consider Drift Crashes, the other
And
three-book
holidays
adventure
during that
path
time.
we played and ran on Dude Where's My Drift. It took us like 2 years to finish.
My
Yeah.
first note for Valkyrie Epoch is from 3/7/24.
Oh, well, really? We started in
Yeah,
March tonight. Oh shit, I
yeah.
remember it was March. So I guess it took us another year.
It took
All
us a
right.
year, almost exactly 1 year.
Wow. Oh hell yeah.
Wow.
Oh, almost a year to the day.
Wow.
That is crazy. So here we are, year to the day late, a year to the day later potentially. Wrapping things up. As always, I am your friendly neighborhood K, and joining me are my fine friends. We have Clue, Doge, and Scott with Leah getting back from work shortly. Hold on, I have a new camera, so I keep forgetting it's not over there anymore. I have to focus over here now to look at the camera so you guys can see my wonderful face. Hi. How you guys doing
Here it
tonight?
is coming in so strong. I
I'm,
love it.
I'm doing all right. I'm tired. Started a new job this week, so lot of
It's
lot of tired brain.
it's been a week. It's been weirdly crazy at work this whole week, and I am
I
over
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I've had the same situation. I had a new job as well, and a lot of chaos at the new job. Just a lot of fires put out,
See,
and it's a not great system.
it's weirdly kind of the opposite for me right now. There's a lot of fires at my job right now,
Ah,
but because I'm in a new job and I'm training, I can't do anything about the fires. I just get to wave at
Yeah,
them from a distance,
that's. I mean, that's
and
that's all it is.
I hate
But
it.
like,
I felt so bad today, knowing stuff was just so bad. I'm just like, guys, if I didn't have to do this stupid harassment training, I would love to get into a room and change 300 mouse cages, but I can't. I'm not allowed to.
I would love to. I would frankly
that's
love
frustrating.
that. I would do that like
No,
so hard.
there's just a lot of very interesting people coming into my job today. That's the polite way I can put it because I do work in the medical field. So
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
very similar.
yeah,
Also exhausted, also to do with work. Can't really talk too much about it, but
same,
uh,
same.
oh
Low
gosh,
income
okay.
housing can't.
But yeah,
Sure
so
would like
tonight,
to.
yeah, so
Can.
for tonight, it is going to be a whole lot of just kind of talking and narrating as I'm here to bring our story for Against the Aeon Throne to a close with our four characters of Peggy, Grunt, Lemire, and Winnie.
I think you have to say
Uh,
the full name.
Winifred
No,
or Lemire
Peggy.
Lepid?
Peggy.
Oh, I got it in here. Don't
For
worry.
sure.
When you hear that full name
For
next,
sure.
it is going to be iconic moments. Don't you all worry. And now, for those listening at home and in the future and everything like that, don't worry. This is not the end of the Valkyrie Epoch. I cannot get comfortable in my chair. Sorry. Uh, we are actually going to be continuing in a couple weeks from now with our next adventure called another AP from Heizo for Starfinder called Signal of Screams. It is another 3-book adventure that covers the mid-level range. So our characters will be going from level 7 and ending around level 13. So that is very exciting. That's kind of where we're going to be picking up on our next session in a couple weeks. But before we get into that, we are going to get into where our characters end up.
Drink some water.
So, shortly after your all arrival on Nacondas, Peggy just stole the Ripwing fighter named Ripper, and he jury-rigged up a one-shot drift engine, and he just took off.
Fucking
Didn't-
deuces,
Not
Dan.
not a word to anybody. He just took the fighter and was
The
gone.
note just says fucking deuces, man.
Uh-huh. And he took off to Aslanti space and just completely drops all contact with all of you, where there's no contact, no word, nothing from him for several months. And there's no idea if he's been captured or just gone so deep no one's ever going to hear from him again. Then slowly, when you guys kind of pass by a news station or get something on your feed or on your phone, you just kind of see little bits of news of escaping out from the Star Empire being trickled into the Pact systems, whether they're the Pact world itself or the colonies in the vast or near space or through the Vescarium. But there's rumors of someone orchestrating an uprising, hosting some form of guerrilla warfare on the outskirts of the Empire itself. There are rumors of planetary governors being assassinated, of power stations and barracks being blown up from terroristic attacks. And the only clue left behind on who might be responsible is a calling card in the form of a frog mask at the site of each explosion and assassination.
You got frogged.
And across the very fringes of the Aslanti Star Empire, slowly over the next few months, chaos begins to just reign and burn across. And here we cut to a lush, beautifully terraformed, Earth-like world. There are sprawling cities with beautiful marbled architecture spread over green parks and fields. A particular like swooping high tower placed by a river and picturesque lakeside just raises high into the sky, pure white, and we see nothing but humans, as far as I can see, wandering across clean, clear-cut streets and walkways, just shopping, living life. And then we can zoom into a large council chamber made of black marble with a round table in the middle of it, and at the head of said table there is a large, archaic looking throne that's just embedded with hundreds and thousands of glittering gems. The throne currently sits empty, but clearly radiates with some type of magical energy. There are 6 other chairs, high back chairs, arranged around the table, and each one is filled with various Aslanti. There's about 4 men and 2 women, all dressed in very fine suits and clean and well cut dresses. And they are busy arguing fiercely amongst themselves over this chaos that is going on and reigning in the back halls of their empire, and trying to determine how best to counter this offensive. Already, propaganda of the empire rages across, denouncing this frog, denouncing whoever might aid with him and fight him on the side of resistance. There is no need for a resistance, as the empire is strong. It is might. The empire endures no matter what, and no mud, filth-blooded, rabble-rousing alien creature can topple the mighty power that they have forged by steel and blood. And they determined that an example must be made. And there's some debate over where this example is going to occur and what will happen and how best to approach it. And finally, they decide that they've received notice from the Aeon guards located there that there's been several recent disappearances of notable figures, and a black market has ceased operating on Outpost Z, the perennial problem child of the Aslanti Star Empire there on its outskirts. And perhaps that is the best place for an example to be made. And so we cut once again to the outskirt of Outpost Z, where we've seen it several times before. A ancient repurposed ore mining and refinery station on the very outskirts of Aslanti space. And coming out of the drift, we see a small armada, about half a dozen capital escort size Aslanti starships coming out a force that could make most planets out here in the middle of nowhere tremble in fear, because there's enough firepower and devastation here to break most basic planetary armadas, and certainly to wipe Outpost Z and everyone who calls it home from the very existence of this planet or this galaxy. And as the ships slowly begin to make their final approach, weapons arming and locking targets onto the outposts, you can see other ships are slowly trying to evacuate, burn away, survive this oncoming onslaught because they don't want to die, they don't want to lose their lives. Ships are constantly evacuated, and you can see on the bridge of the Atlantis starship as they just continue to mark targets and indicate places where they are, they need to enemies they need to track next, people they're going to find, what needs to be hunted down to serve this message to the rabble rousers that their terror, their guerrilla warfare, this terrorism cannot and will not be tolerated. And as the ships begin to power up their lasers and the missiles to destroy Outpost Z once and for all, about 24 of the ships fleeing from the outpost suddenly whip around. Their own weapons and lasers starting to take aim as alarms begin to ratchet all across the bridges of the Atlantis starships. Coming from deeper in the system, catching this small armada in a pincher maneuver, there's another score of ships coming out. Now, while these ships may be smaller, they do outnumber the Atlantis nearly 4-1 by the time the count is completed. And there, rising up from behind, we see a familiar-looking starship. Captain Honora Peggy, Peg Leg, Butt Foot the Toad Buffo, sitting at its stick, ready to lead the charge against the Aslanti battle group. And as a fierce space battle begins to ensue, lasers flying every which way, ships blowing up, missiles going off, we see the Aslanti battle group slowly begin to get crippled and slowly begin to be destroyed. And as the final ship explodes, we look on a small, battered fleet of resistance fighters, still surviving and victorious. And as we look over the destruction of the Atlantic battle group with Outpost Z still flying in the background, Clue.
Crackling over the Starfighter comms. Anura cuts through the static. He's resolute, but he's pretty raw. Listen up, free souls of Outpost Z. We stand on the brink of destiny, not as subjects of a dying empire, heralds of a new dawn, a new day. They call themselves the mighty Aeon throne and its blood-stained fleet. And their jackboots. Their power rests in the bones of tyrants and the submission of countless broken spirits. Look at us, one-legged, scarred by battle, and unbowed, living proof that freedom is forged in the fires of defiance, man. For too long, the Aslanti chains have bound our dreams, strangled our hopes. But now, through the echoes of explosions and the silent fall of the leaders, we have ignited a revolution. Our numbers swell, not by the might of their steel, but by the force of our unyielding resolve. Today, we tear down the pillars of tyranny, brick by fucking brick. Remember this moment when we rise together, where every blast of sacrifice carves a path to liberation. The Aeon throne will crumble beneath the weight of our will. We are many, we are fierce, and our hearts beat as one in defiance of oppression. Let the echoes of courage be heard across the stars. And until the last tyrant falls and freedom reigns supreme. To arms! To victory! And to the future unbound. For Outpost Z, for every free soul we fight. Till the empire is nothing but a whisper of its former cruelty. The transmission surges with a blast of anti-Nazi punk rock Raw and defiant. I don't have any anti-Nazi punk that we can play. I think legally.
I think technically all punk is anti-Nazi usually.
Yeah, I mean,
No, that's me.
usually
Not, I guess, not
Should
all
be.
punk, but the good punk is always anti-Nazi.
the good punk should beat the fuck out of a Nazi when they see him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, has that statement transcends out all across the Star Empire and reaching back into near space and packed space on the backs of radio broadcasts from all throughout the galaxy and the universe, accompanied by video of the triumphant combat that Peggy led with his what do you call your little resistance team?
Frognonymous. Yeah.
Frognonymous. With his team of Frognonymous, their message pushed out and across the galaxy, and a call to arms is raised.
Frognonymous.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, you can't talk. You're not on the stream.
You're not here.
All right, you're allowed to talk.
I agree. A non-frog would have been better.
a not a frog.
Not a frog. Frognonymous.
But as the mission statement plays out across the galaxy and the universe,
you're not sure. We used to be a funk fan, and then we just got into killing Nazis, man.
As
I don't
you
know what to tell
do.
you.
I feel
As
like
one-
most. I
as
feel like
one
that's
does.
like the reverse.
You know, we were
origin
just got
story
ourselves
of
in
the good
Tulsa,
punk fan.
surrounded by Nazis one day.
You're in a punk band long enough, you're gonna
Sorry,
kill some
Tulsa, you got
Nazis.
Nazis inside.
See, I really feel like it's the other way around. If you're killing Nazis long enough, you're going to end up in a punk band.
Hey, that's also very true. I think it's two scales
I
that
mean-
meet together at some point.
Yeah.
all right. And as we close
The
out,
Venn diagram becomes a circle.
on that scene, time rewinds, scene changes, and we go back to about a week after you guys returned to Nikondis. And I just gotta say, Grunt was bored. He was tired of just sitting around this boring planet in this boring colony where nothing exciting ever happened. He got yelled at the other day because he was trying to burn some trees down from encroaching on the nearby shithole cargo crates these people call their homes. And no, it was just considered disrespectful to burn those annoying little blue lightning bug things that were just roaming around causing chaos. Like, no, we're going to trap them and let them go humanely. Grunt was bored.
I'm just telling you guys, when the wildfires start and you lose all of your homes, you do not get to bitch at me when you stop me from doing controlled burns. That's all I'm saying.
And so the time came. He grunted. He shouldered his pack. Piggy had been gone for about a week, and Lemire was heading back to Absalom Station, Grunt at his side. Time to find something he can actually fight. Something's going to be less boring than standing on a planet where he can't even kill the wildlife that's causing trouble. So our space orc friend set out for a grand adventure. Over the next couple of months, he roamed the lower spike of Absalom Station, where someone had directed him saying, "Hey, there's a whole bunch of troublemakers down here. You could, beat them up, haul them to this place here. You'll get some
Say
money." And yeah, so it was a clever at one point who told him when Grunt kept refusing payment, said, "Hey, you realize this is plunder? You know, we're giving you plunder for bringing these people to us." And that just made Grunt's day right there.
Leo, you're muted.
Doesn't he
Shit.
not know about money?
Shit. Yeah.
He doesn't
Definitely
understand
money.
money. Classically. But he understands plunder? I don't
Yep.
get it.
Yep.
That's his arc.
That is
his arc.
correct.
He understands plunder now.
Yeah.
We
'cause-
taught him that.
Oh
We
no.
taught him plunder.
We plundered back.
Are
in
we
New
the
York
bad
militia.
guys? We're the bad guys.
We absolutely plundered back in New York militia. We just didn't use money. I don't understand what that is.
We called it
Plunder.
forcible
Like,
requisition.
I
I
killed
don't know what
you,
you're talking
therefore your shit is mine. That makes sense to me.
Yep. And so he spent a couple months just fighting around Absalom Station, beating up people who are causing trouble and plundering their shit.
Mhm.
And yet, it just wasn't enough. They always yelled at him saying, hey, we need you to bring some of these people back alive. You can't just kill them all. What's the point of hunting down someone if you're just going to let them live? What's a good brawl if the other person walks away? And then one day, someone told Grunt about another opportunity where he could perhaps better use his unique talents. There is a research laboratory being set up in some system somewhere way out on the vast. He doesn't remember the name. He didn't pay attention to it. All he knew is he was told that he's going to be doing two things in this job. Two things. One is keeping people safe, which boring, terrible. But the other thing, he's going to be hunting himself some big old space bugs. And frankly, that was always going to be a good, exciting time. Yeah, some weird science outpost out in the middle of nowhere. He'd be there for like 6 months at a time. That with just occasionally going to the surface, kill bugs. But hunting bugs sound a lot better than hunting these drunk assholes who kept trying to jump them in alleyways. Although the guy who hired him just talked a lot. His name was like, he was some kind of slug person.
Oh.
Something like a Sammy was his name. Grunt doesn't remember. It doesn't matter. He got the job. And so he boarded another space shuttle. Knew it was going to be a couple weeks flight to get out there. And he headed on out. Because fighting bugs sounded like a great time. Unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately, depending on how you really want to look at it, he didn't make it very far. Instead, his shuttle came unattacked by space pirates. And that was definitely the most thrilling fight he'd had in some time. Ain't that right, Grunt?
Damn sure is.
Mm-hmm. Sure, by
You
the
guys
time
actually know how to fucking fight.
Yeah, sure. By the time the fighting was done and everybody was there, you were making friends with space pirates and helping them hijack and kidnap to plunder and ransom off some of the fancy folk who was on board the shuttle. Sure, one of your bullets went a little stray and may have blown up the engine a little bit, but that's all right. Oh wait, no, never mind. We're spiraling down towards the planet and crash landing here. After all, that didn't go quite according to plan. And so, as
Minor detail.
as this ship just lands in
We got
several
insurance,
pieces
I'm sure.
on the surface of Akaton. Like I said,
Probably
he
gonna come
wouldn't
out of
make
this
it very
ahead.
far. And I gotta say, Grunt hated Akaton. This is the shittiest planet he'd ever been on, I gotta say. Dust is absolutely terrible. He was sneezing all the time. He couldn't breathe as it just swept up everywhere. His skin turned red. Who'd ever heard of a red-skinned orc, honestly? And it's just hot, constantly hot. He was constantly harassed by these little tiny green space goblin thingies and these weird red lizards that like to shoot blood out of their eyes at him. And at one point, he was lost out in the desert. He got attacked by these giant mutated toads. And then, well, this giant sandworm kind of rose up one day, had this real weird human-like face. He didn't know what to make of that, but it tried to eat him. He knew that. But
I don't care what you call it, it's dead now.
Yep, a little bit of spit, some water from his canteen, and
The golden path.
Certainly seemed to take care of that thing. Left him striding on through the desert some more.
Did Grunt kill my Dune references? Am I
Yeah.
not allowed to make him anymore?
You're not playing the Quiz Hattarack anymore, so no.
Oh no.
Oh wait, shoot, that was spoilers. Anyway, eventually Grunt came to some rundown looking shithole by the name of Kefak Depot. Didn't know what a Kefak was, but well, he found out soon enough as he got jumped by a whole bunch of these weird little dog-sized space cockroach things that were radioactive.
Why does that describe so many things in Starfinder?
Describe everything on
Because
Akaton.
the Paizo
Literally
staff.
everything on Akaton.
Listen,
Just
I don't know
Yep.
if you've ever met the Paizo staff, but
They
Paizo,
have
I
the-
love you. Y'all guys are weird.
Yeah. Like, do you need a hug, Paizo? We should be concerned.
No, I'm
Yep.
Who
pretty
hurt
sure
you,
that
babies? Who hurt you, babies?
they have to register their addresses.
But and then, well, as Grunt finally got on board another shuttle to go try and find something else to do, something else to fight with a new adventure, wondered himself how Sarge was handling, if his dear old squad was still alive or not, but probably not, because, without him, they probably got eaten by a bug or something like that. But then a news alert popped up, and it was his old friend Peggy rallying out a call to fight the Nazis again.
Okay, I'm in.
So Grunt had a new destination, and a smile grew across his face.
Sounds good
He
to
knew
me.
there'd be some good old fighting there with his old friend Peggy. He just hoped he'd get there in time to, before it was all done and over with. And from there,
It's gonna be awesome.
as Grunt just kind of accidentally his way across the galaxy, probably gets in fight with some Vesk, gets lost on another planet, kills some more ancient creatures that people thought long since existed, but somehow he stumbles into them.
Coelacanth, no.
Eventually, he might make his way to Azanti space, and hopefully there'll still be something for him to fight. But as fires of revolution burn across the edges of the Azanti space and the chains of tyranny begin to shake and tremble, our camera once again rewinds. We go back in time in different places. We find Lemire. Lemire, you are there on the Condis, staring out into the sunset overhead, watching as it burns away the mist-covered planet, revealing the jungle before you. The very night that you all returned after your victory in Atlantis space, rescuing Sedona and bringing the rune drive and the scientists back to this planet. There's a celebration going on in town, but Lemire, you're just not there anymore. Not mentally, anyway. Your mind is wandering back to other times and places, another planet, months in your past, years in your future, where there's another home you left behind, where you remember celebrating. And yet more mysteries remain unsolved as you think back to these simpler, ancient, yet to come times. And so you leave the Condis with Grunt, heading back to Absalon Station, promising you'll keep in touch with the others, even though you're not sure if you really will ever see them again. Your eyes focused in on the future and the Waydana system. There at Absalom, you begin to dive deep into libraries and corporate dealings, looking for the signs of the different corporations you know are involved in colonizing this planet, looking for the plans to build the colony ships that they send out there, trying to find any way, any access in to ensure that you are going to be there this time. And you, with your advanced knowledge, are going to make sure that things don't end in disaster again. It's only 3 years, 3 short years before these expeditions leave. And you know that you have to use that time to figure out how to best prepare for what is coming to that planet. And of course, the temptation is there. Your main allies exploring that planet, working with Wellspring Colony. You can reach out to Dela. You know she's there working as a patrol guard in Akaton. You can find her. You could try to hunt down Eskin, though given his sordid past, he might be a little difficult to find, but you could do it. And of course, you know where Sid, the Vesk biohacker, is. I mean, they're part of the Vesk military. They're very easy to find if you really wanted to. They're your closest friends once upon a time, in a future yet to come. But you feel like you can't just reach out, because the story you have to tell them isn't an easy one to accept. And it would take a lot to prove that, hey, I'm here from the future, and I have to tell you about this crazy shit that we're going to get into. And so you bury yourself in research. trying to find hidden archives, trying to find libraries and studies belonging to different cults and religious organizations throughout the galaxy. Find out anything and everything you can about the Culling Shadow, about the negative energy plane and its inhabitants, scouring for any mention of the name Misaxanoi. And you find a little bit here and there, but most of what you find doesn't help you, doesn't give you the information you're seeking. A way to counter what it is that killed everyone you knew. A way to prevent the tragedies from happening again. And then you finally cave in. And Doge, what does Lemire send to Dela and Eskin to get them to meet with him on Absalom Station?
It's just like a short, pretty short recorded video that it's just him kind of profile, it's pretty much just a Mothman head. And it's just, hi, you don't know me yet. My name is Lemire. I've been thinking about this a long time now. A long time.
It's been at least like
story.
6+ months, almost a year, maybe.
Plus 3 months and a year and 3 years rewinded and 2 years forward and some other couple days. And anyway, I need your help. And this sounds weird, but I think you two are the only one that can help me save everybody, including yourselves. And that's pretty much, he gives a couple details about meeting up locations, and that's how the message ends.
There's just something about it. And so, after several months of researching on Absalom Station, we see Lemire boarding on a chartered freighter, one that is bound for the Marixal Republic, where you hope to research any history of the hobgoblins who attempted to found colonies near the coordinates of the Waydana system, hunt down any signs or knowledge remaining of the cursed dynamics, the ones who ran and owned that geomantic lab that you found underneath near your colony once upon a time, knowing that your deadline to set out is approaching. And you only have so long in that system before you have to get back to the Absalom to get on board the colony ships. And as you step on that shuttle that will be home for the next 4 weeks, you venture back out from Pack Space. Seated around him, we see the Sylph Dela and the human Eskin joined together once more with their friend. Perhaps still not truly sure just what exactly is going on, but intrigued enough to find out and go on a different adventure. And
that
what do you
Eskin
guys
is definitely hitting on that Dela.
What I was saying, what do you guys like talk about?
I was going to say, holy shit, I want to play that game. What are we doing? Fuck Signal of Screams. I'm in. Let's go. Jesus. Is Eskin even a Gatorade sweating
No,
dude? Like,
no,
dude, he's just a dude.
he's just a guy. He's just like heavily indebted, like career gambler who definitely initially returned a like the mailbox belonging to Eskin Oracles does not exist. Why are you calling this number?
I'm like rabid for that story now. Fuck.
Maybe someday when we have more time, I can write and we can tell this story. But so here, there we are. So I'm gonna kind of break scene here for a minute. Back before we started the Valkyrie Epoch, Leah, Scott, Doge, me, and another one of our friends were playing Horizons of the Vast, Paizo's Kingmaker and Space Adventure Path for Starfinder. And those,
Hot V.
And Dela, Eskin, and Lemire were their characters from that adventure path. Unfortunately, one of the other players left, and at that point we decided to invite Clue, and then decided, why don't we do a stream? And that's how the Valkyrie Epoch got started with this plan. And Doge decided he wanted to bring Lemire over, but just change. Like, okay, here's how this is going to work. And so this is the same Lemire character from Horizons of the Vast, but now back in
Having
time.
survived all the war crimes.
And
He's trying
having
to
survived
prevent the war crimes and then ends up making kind of more war crimes.
well, so in my mind, this is going to be some wild spoilers for the Horizons of the Vast.
The
and
old
I'm really
phrase,
sorry for
it's
this.
not a war crime the first time, is kind of relative when time is a circle.
Yeah.
for you.
But
Okay, don't tell the people about our war crimes.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to. But so
We
in
won't
Horizons of the
blame
Vast,
Don't let
anyone
yourself.
else.
Multiple times.
the end of the story,
You're done fucked up.
the end of the story with Horizons of the
You
Vast
pulled a ditty.
is basically a giant starship-sized monster from the negative energy plane is descending upon the planet and has to be fought off, who literally just sends out negative radiation that just kills everything it touches. And so way back in the start of this, when Lemire is introduced, watching a literal wave of destruction coming down upon the planet Waydana and everyone's surrounded being dead, that's literally what is happening there.
Lemire's been having
Okay.
nightmares of this thing this whole time.
Uh-huh.
So we just we just happened to be playing a side story to Infamous 2 over here.
Yeah.
And so that's basically Lemire's goal now, is to like, all right, you guys are with him. You're going to figure out how the fuck you're going to survive it this time, which granted is in the adventure, but since we didn't get it finished, I'm like, I'm going to incorporate this into here.
Oh, that's so good.
Someday, if we ever
Fuck.
go back to it, that's gonna again, all my Starfinder shit is interlinked, so it's gonna be something. However, before we get into that, as we come back into the narrative,
Yeah, what about Winnie? She's now all alone. All of her friends just abandoned her.
Don't worry. As the camera pans out from the starship with Lemire, Eskin, and Dela on board, we see a kind of, for those familiar with the Dude Where's My Drift metaverse, familiar looking
Where's my
starship
metaverse?
pulling out and begins to make its way towards the out system, where it will jump into the drift.
Yeah, we have a metaverse.
Stenciled across the side of the ship in freshly painted red letters, we catch sight of the name, the Marauder,
How much
as
did
it begins
Zuck
to venture
pay you,
forth.
Kay?
Skittermander captaining the ship, an SRO at the helm piloting it, and the ship's engine being maintained by a cranky goblin with an affinity for explosives.
I remember those guys.
Guys, I think Lemire really fucked up. I think Lemire really did something wrong.
Well, I mean, honestly, you took one of your heavy guns off the table by getting Eskin somewhere where he won't crash land 3 months ahead of you guys.
I don't think we have to worry about the ship crashing.
I mean, it is still technically too early for the drift to crash also, but I mean, you also mess with the timeline, so here we go.
Lemire crossed the streams.
Lemire did something bad, guys.
And
Somebody hit restart and blow into the cartridge.
Isn't that what Lemire just tried?
For the people who don't know, the Marauder was the ship that we started out on the original Dude Where's My Drift podcast. That is the beginning of the Drift Crashers adventure path.
I'm fucked up. I don't know how you do that.
And there was a cranky goblin in the engine bay and a kind of snarky SRO piloting that ship with a Skittermander NPC. Nobody actually liked him.
If you piss off that goblin, he's gonna make you fucking blow up. That's what's gonna happen. He is going to blow you up.
It's all interconnected.
I want to play that game. let's do Drift Crashers with Lemire. Let's go.
I mean, you could potentially bring Lemire into Drift Hackers if we ever get
That'd
to
be
it.
like a level 7 Lemire coming in Drift Crash. That's Precog starts kicking off, yo.
But, and last, we arrive back to Winifred. The camera once more rewinded in time, and we come back to the planet Condis. We find her not at Madeline's Landing in the days after their grand return, but instead further up the mountains, investigating another colony on the planet, and one that was once known as Delesco. The colony that simply everyone on board vanished one day. The site where, several months ago, she and Laukios went investigating, while Amir and Peggy fixed up the Valkyrie for their voyage into Atlantis space. She felt drawn back to this location where two portals had stood waiting once upon a time. One, a simple hole in reality that seemed to draw Laukios away and into it before spitting out Grunt. The other, something darker and almost malevolent in its feeling. Her powers had grown in the time since she last visited the site, however, and she was determined to fix a mistake she had attempted to rectify then, and she wanted to bring Laukios home. She didn't want to have her friend for those first several weeks just abandoned wherever he had wound up. And so when he folds herself onto the ground, sitting cross-legged and closing her eyes as she began to meditate, expanding her senses and delving deeper into the multiverse of realms that she had been able to do the last time she was here. She reached deeper.
She's
Yep.
just sitting there, and the thought that she's just focusing on over and over again is, that wasn't my portal. I didn't do it. But she doesn't actually know if that's true or not.
Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah. But like she's using that line to try to like steady herself because she's so nervous that she's going to rip another hole in reality and cause even bigger issues. So she's trying to remind herself she didn't do it, but she can fix it.
Mm-hmm. Alex, and you reached deeper and deeper, seeking to find that dark void that had been here before. Hours pass as you worked and stretched your magic, expanding the reaches of your senses further and further and further. And then suddenly you saw just the barest glimpse. You could see Laukios, but it looked as if you were peering at him through an incredibly murky pond or a very dirty glass window. His form indistinct yet recognizable, and his mouth open in a rictus of pain as he seemed to be chained and lashed in place. And so when he surges to her feet, her hand stretching out toward him, trying to pierce through that veil, through that foggy water, whatever it is that you can just barely see through, only for it to shatter before her like glass. And a ghostly, ghastly-like visage flares to life before your eyes, causing you to jump back, shoving and forcing you as a piercing howl sets her soul quivering. Gasping, she opens her eyes and falls back on the ground, just groaning, slamming her hand in frustration. She had been so close. She saw him. She could feel him. But that world, that place where Laukios lingered, she slowly raised one hand before her eyes, just looking at it, as a soft purple and black shadowy light just danced around her fingertips, where she had touched it, and she just knew where he was. And a grin lit upon her face, because now she had a location, and she had a plan she could approach. Setting back out, she was actually kind of shocked when she returned to Madeline's Landing, finding that everyone else was gone. She didn't think she'd been gone that long, but everyone else left. There were notes from a couple of them saying, hey, gone off to do whatever, but they were all here and she was alone. They had their own paths to walk, and Winnie, she had hers. But they did leave her the ship, the Valkyrie, for her to use.
We left you the ship.
So
Big
she
one.
set a course.
Thanks, guys.
I didn't
You need
flush
the big one.
though.
You're
I
big.
took a massive
Yeah,
dump. and
every
didn't
one of
flush.
those has an upper decker, actually.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
It's to remember us.
We gotta ruin Kay's fantastic storytelling here by talking about pooping in toilets and not flushing.
Yeah.
Brett definitely
Sure.
pulled like a
Just-
full like.
you just-
I could actually
Inside.
see them all. I see them just leaving it up for Decker for her to find.
It's all about balance, and we've achieved it.
Also,
Listen, we have to
I can't
remember where we
believe-
came from.
also, I have to tell you, like, I didn't read that. Kay sent this to me to proofread, and I was like, "Bro, I'm at work. I can't read this. I'm sure it's fine." I did not know you were giving Lakios Cenobites. I feel bad for him.
Y'all know me. Anytime I write something for your characters, I try to want to send it to you guys. Like, hey, read over this, make sure it's fine, and fit it with your character.
Joke's
and
on
I'll
you, I
adjust it
can't
I
for you.
read.
really thought you were gonna say, you know me, when I write things, there's always Cenobites, and I was gonna say, all right,
No,
Kay.
I'm including those
Disturbing.
especially for you.
Doge, that would have been a perfect response because I really should have remembered when Kay sent me Grunt's epilogue that Grunt can't read and just
Yeah,
refused to
can't
read it.
proofread it. My PC can't read. Sorry, I'm really in character right now.
I'm a method role player.
I'm just calling me Jared Leto. I don't know what you're saying. I'm gonna send you a bat though.
Yeah. Here's this boot I found. And
Jared Leto also sent his coworkers, boxes of poop. So we're like all
We're
full
surprised.
circle.
Yeah,
We're all Jared Leto. Everybody
We're all
on 3, take
good.
off your masks.
all right. Okay. So, Winnie set a course for the Shadar Confederacy, a system near Aslanti space, home of the Draelix, who are probably the most well-researched in the plane of shadow as far as just general
Fucking
knowledge
asparagus.
allows
Those
for.
are these
Bracken
asparagus
guys.
people. Yeah,
They are the asparagus
Oh.
people. Yep.
they really
They're
hate us.
great
Probably
fakers.
we killed a lot of them. But continue.
And so you head out
They
there,
do
begin
not
to
like us, class.
intending to begin researching the plane of shadow, and learn what she could of it and any congruences with it to the material plane. So months pass as we see Winnie in like hyper-focused research mode, seeking her way in darkened libraries and ghastly studies, eventually fleeing from Draelix belonging to the cult of Ataraxia, who see her as a heretic, simply because she just tried to pilfer some of their sacred texts that had
And I've
information she
also
wanted.
killed a
I mean,
couple
come
of
on,
them.
guys.
And
You
we
may have had to
tried
kill a
eat
couple of
them
them in your
to see if they
as your
tasted
attempts to
like
escape.
asparagus. That was implied.
They did not.
They still make your pee stink though.
Every time.
Yep.
Every time they make your pee stink.
Quite odd. And so she eventually had to return to Pact Space, but she found her way to Apostate, the home planet of the Drow, deep in the far reaches of the Pact system. And there she continued her research and begins working on a ritual, one that will sort of begin to track places with her mystical energies where the shadow plane has touched the material in large amounts, because where a portal is going to have been and lingered, where she might be able to get in there more easily, it is going to show more strongly. So several more months pass as she just researches and practices and refines this ritual to guide her senses until finally it works. Winnie's mind is alight and burning with new information as she sorts through the nearest locations of intense, dark, and shadowy magic, shocked to learn of just how many possibilities exist within the Pact systems alone. Unsurprising, there was a lot of shadow magic and touch in the shadow plane being woven on Eox, ancient home of the Librians and their undead kingdom, the Corpse Fleet. But what was a little more surprising was there's a little bit of shadow magic's touching the planet Verces, the technological center of the Pact system. And one other oddity. In the diaspora, a random asteroid was absolutely surging with the touch of the shadow plane. Enough that perhaps this is a place worth a closer examination. And so, setting course, Winnie's thoughts turning to her missing friends as they went on their own adventures. For she felt sure she was flying once more into danger, and there's no one at her side this time. Although, perhaps if she followed the path where this magical energy was occurring, maybe she'll find Valkyos again and get him free. And well, the location itself is a little odd, and maybe she shouldn't be so worried about what she'll find when she arrives there. After all, how dangerous can a resort catering to the rich and affluent really be?
So while
Vacation all ever wanted.
while Winnie is on her way,
Having so much
she's
fun.
going to send 2 messages. One to Lemire and one to Peggy/Grunt. Because I'm assuming that they're together at this point. Like I'm assuming we're communicating.
This possible Grunt hasn't arrived there yet. He has a very long series of unfortunate events that just wind him up in battle after battle after
Well,
battle.
well, I want him to be there. And I'm
Okay.
gonna say we've been communicating off and on, just like, hey man, what's up? Blah, blah. So we all know kind of what everybody's doing a little bit, right? So I'm gonna send all of them a message that basically just says like, going after Laukios. I'll let you know if I need any help. Preemptive sorry about the ship. And then like a middle finger. And then like a heart.
Lemire responds, thumbs up, butterfly wings, uh, sweat drops, eggplant, smiley face.
Yep.
Actually, there's
Lemire
3 eggplants.
Lemire doesn't know how to text.
Two of them are horizontal. I don't understand why. Pointing in towards the other vertical eggplant.
Is the smaller eggplant going into the bigger eggplant?
Yeah, it's actually a Russian nesting doll situation of eggplant.
But somehow they still all
It's a-
weirdly point at the butterfly wings.
Yeah. Crazy arc.
Yeah.
So I guess Winnie needs an employment attorney.
Yes.
But so, as the scene with Winnie slowly fades to back,
At the very least, we all need validating for our partner. If you can.
the camera just tends to slowly go to black until it finally reaches just pitch blackness in our view. But slowly growing, we hear the steady the thump, the thump, the thump of a heartbeat. It's growing steadily louder and louder and louder, beating faster and faster, getting louder and faster and faster and faster and faster until abruptly it stops. And the camera shifts again. And suddenly there's a bright light and happy smiling faces greeting everyone everywhere you look. There's aliens of all different sizes and colors and shapes and genders and everything you possibly imagine are wandering around a brightly lit and very clean looking promenade. Happy families laughing, children giggling, running around playing games and eating ice cream and popcorn. We see couples holding hands as they stroll, happy, content, carrying oversized stuffed animals like what you see them winning at carnival games and fairs as they go through the thoroughfare. There's camera shots of people jumping into the pools and artificial lakes, swimming and laughing, going down water slides, riding roller coasters, fireworks going off against a star-filled sky. People just laughing, cavorting, excited, people everywhere, and noises. Life is good, life is well, life is wonderful. And the image then freezes on a stock photo of a pair of smiling Verthani, holding hands with a small child, and a voice speaks out. Come to New Elysium, the PAX System's #1 family vacation getaway. We have everything you could possibly want, from carnival games to roller coasters for those wanting a challenge and seeking the thrill, fully immersive, augmented, and virtual reality movie screenings, art exhibits, music concerts, plays, dozens of restaurants and pools, water parks, and the highest rated spa facility in the entire galaxy. Plus, we are excited to announce the official launch of our brand new Keys to Elysium mobile concierge service. Upon your arrival, you will be able to download the app to your personal comm unit, and it will begin to customize your experience here at Elysium however you want. Control your rooms and lock your doors, set your air condition how you would like. Order food, set a reservation at your favorite restaurant, put in a request for spa services. You can even reserve it to use it to reserve your place in line for your favorite roller coaster. Anything you want to do in Elysium, you can do through the Keys to Elysium app, designed in partnership with Eclipse Innovations, making your life easier. We then cut from this clear and obvious ad to the new Elysium resort in the diaspora to what looks to be shaky camera footage on a terrible comm camera. And we see the same promenade from the ad in full disarray. Signs broken, trash everywhere, and broken bodies littering the ground. We hear the soft sound of crunching and chewing, and whoever's holding the camera, they slowly turn to show what seems to be a Lashunta woman eating a human male. Blood just streaming down her face as she chews. The camera begins to move slowly, and we see flashes of scaled legs and swim shorts that seem to be broken as whoever's holding it hand crawls away from that Lashunta woman, gasping and panting. Screams are evident everywhere in the background, cries of pain and pleasure and terror all mixing. The camera angle is swapped into selfie mode, and we see the face of an absolutely terrified Vask panting into the camera. If anyone sees this, New Elysium's it's not a wonderland anymore. It's just horror. I can't. And the camera cuts out. And we see a title card fading into existence, reading simply 2 weeks earlier. And we watch as a Sarcesian, a very familiar Sarcesian, a Brenary, a Mirakoi, and a Demai step out onto the landing and welcome platform of New Elysium, eager for their idyllic vacation to begin. And scene.
Damn.
Never trust a Paizo travel agent. That's all I'm saying. Never do. Never
All
do.
right.
Never, not once, not never.
This is a little bit of a shorter show tonight. As I said, we are just wrapping up our character arcs for Against the Aeon Throne, and as you can tell, everybody except for Winnie is bringing a new character in for our next adventure, which is The Signal of Screams, Book 1, The Diaspora Strain. We will return here in not 2 weeks, but 3 weeks from today, as we kind of begin our initial approach into that. I want to kind of end this with opening the floor up to the 4 of you. Is there kind of any final notes or thoughts you guys kind of want to say about Against the Aeon Throne?
I thought it was going to be really cathartic, to fight Nazis while, it was one thing in the abstract of Biden was still in power.
Clue, I really don't want you to get political right now. We have to
Mhm.
maintain a neutral approach towards reality right now. Please don't get political.
Okay, anyone who voted for the current president, we don't want your viewership. We don't want you watching. Fuck
Sorry.
off. Get out of our
I've been doing a
lives.
lot of management training this week.
I mean, I actually do feel like it was cathartic. I got to kill a lot of Nazis. So I'm very, very happy with my Nazi murdering experience.
I will say, the arc of this character was grossly informed by current events, and I needed something, but I also just didn't want to continue with him after that.
See,
I put it away.
As was mentioned here a little bit, I did bring Lemire from our previous game into Against the Aeon Throne because I really enjoyed playing Lemire as a character and as a class. I think Precog for Starfinder is super cool, which is why I wanted to replay him. But bringing him into Against the Aeon Throne, I changed some of his traits coming over. He had a different background. He had a different the precog the anchor. His anchor was different because Lemire had went through some shit. So he came into Against the Aeon Throne as a darker character than what he was in Horizons of the Vast. Unfortunately, our Horizons of the Vast game was not streamed, so none of people who might be watching this ever met truly innocent Lemire, who used to be like a truly innocent, like sheltered little child. Because Lemire is a young character. He's only like 19 minus 3 because he time traveled once. But putting him into Against the Aeon Throne as he's a darker character, like mentally, he's got a lot of trauma in his brain, and being able to unleash that trauma on Nazis, as said, feels pretty good.
I will say I underestimated how much having just Lemire around was going to make me miss Eskin and like and Dela too, and like the Eskin Dela relationship and the Eskin Lemire relationship. Like just having that one piece of connective tissue made it a lot surprisingly harder to like invest in the new characters.
If you guys need like 6 months and me fuck off for a little bit, and you guys have me clear fucking 4-way.
I mean,
I don't care.
I believe that we are. I believe that we are like committedly down a healer in that group. So like,
Oh yeah, that was that game had its
I
issues.
don't.
We struggled quite a bit.
Whatever.
Look, y'all. I mean, give me a possibility for like, if I had the energy and time to like even do just a monthly game of those three, I absolutely would.
Lemire, Dela,
Probably still
and
not streamed,
Eskin
but
within Drift Crashers, that's pretty fun. Like,
Listen, So I had played in some Starfinder one shots prior to Horizons of the Vast, but Dela was my first like character from the ground up that I ever played in Starfinder, and she was just a fucking soldier, nothing that special, but like, oh my
soldiers are
god, yeah, was
Mhm.
she so much fun, and her relationship with Lemire and with Eskin was goated. What a great story! I am still sad to this day that it ended. Even if it ended because of war crimes.
I am there with you as the person who committed the war crimes that ended that game. Because like Eskin was the first Starfinder character I really enjoyed playing. Because like I am much more of like, if I'm gonna do Paizo shit, I'm more of a Pathfinder guy. And honestly, I'm not a huge Paizo fan. I'm probably the least Paizo fan in this group. But
No, that's
like,
me.
I don't know. You and I are.
100% that's Leah.
But
I'm a
anyway,
diehard.
but like yeah, I had played a couple of Starfinder games, and Eskin was the first character that I really enjoyed playing. Partially because Evolutionist is just a stupid fun class.
It's bonkers.
And the way that I got to like mesh that into the flavor of that story was really cool. But also the fact that just by sheer happenstance of role-playing reactions to random dice luck of who landed finishing blows on what enemies and shit like that, Eskin literally went through a straight up Anakin arc. I was like,
I'll just like, as Leah kind of touched on there a little bit, like if I mean there's one person watching, maybe, I don't know, if people watch this video and if for some reason you're gonna pick up Starfinder First Edition for the first time, don't pick up Starfinder Second Edition. The playtest is out. Go dive into Second Edition. Just do it. It'll be better.
And the main edition and the official launch is this summer. So
yeah, just go learn Pathfinder Second Edition. Find the Starfinder playtest. Just go do that. But if for some stupid reason you're gonna play Starfinder First Edition, which is a very flawed system, all of us will attest to it. Even the diehard Paizo fans here, amongst like the three of us, Starfinder First Edition is flawed.
Straight up, don't. Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
Just don't.
If
In
you're
fact, I argued with Kay immensely. I was like, let's just play Pathfinder 2. Come on. Let's just play Pathfinder 2. Stop being a coward.
if you're gonna come into
In
First
fact, I
Edition
called
and
him
you
a coward
want to
4
play
times.
if you want to play a fun character, or just not even like role playing, you just want to play fun mechanics, play a soldier. They are so much fun. They do
It's super
everything
fun.
better than everybody else outside of like skills. Like they're just so much fun.
And they're so
Skills and magic.
straightforward.
Skills and magic, obviously. They don't really do magic. But if you want to shoot guns and beat people, play a soldier. Like it's just fun.
It's ABH, man. Always be hitting.
One of the
Always be
big
hitting.
one of the
We
big
call it-
things one of the big things that I would say as someone who's not a Paizo stan and who has struggled with Starfinder a good deal is to like very specifically look for inspiration in like the types of sci-fi where you really want to be thinking like you really want to be thinking like Firefly, and like potentially like a little bit less over the top version of Warhammer. You really want to be looking at the flavors of sci-fi that are very tools oriented. You do not want to think Star Wars, because I think Star Wars and the system does not reward Star Wars.
I think
you can do
it depends
Star
on your
Wars.
outlook
It
of
just
Star
depends
Wars.
on the classes, and it's so hard to do it well. You get yourself into a niche like Solarian. Solarian is still, however many years into Starfinder, Solarian is still my favorite class. I don't know if I would ever play them in a full-on adventure because they're so difficult to be
It's great
fun
work.
all the time. Like they're great in combat until you're just getting hit. They suck outside of combat because they have no freaking skills. But it's it's so satisfying to fucking call up your fucking laser sword out of nowhere and then just in like 18 seconds you just blow up. That's so fun.
I will grant Starfinder at the end found, through like graphs, etc., that you could get really skilled no matter where you were.
Starfinder right now is very good. It's still a flawed system, but it's still very
still
good.
Need 3 actions no matter what.
I would still almost always recommend pick up the Paizo second edition games.
And
You
I
can
will
get
also
the player core, the GM cores. They go on sale a lot. Check out Humble Bundles.
They'll
Play
definitely
those.
be going on sale leading up towards
Also,
Gen Con here.
if you don't have a consistent group that's big on the Paizo systems, there's nothing wrong with playing rules light shit. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, Kids on Bikes based stuff, they're much simpler, much more streamlined, much easier to pick up, and much easier to consistently have your character doing what you actually want your character to be doing. Like the thing that Paizo is really good at is giving you an opportunity to build an engine and to like put together a mechanical spreadsheet of an awesome character with big numbers that's going to get to use those big numbers. And if that appeals to you, there's not many systems that are better. But if you're not that kind of player, and I'm going to be honest, I'm really not, there are a lot of better systems out there, and it's, Starfinder happens to be the most popular one for this genre. It does not mean it's going to be the best.
Well, and like along that like mindset is that like I know we have someone within this party that's a fan of playing 5e games, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's
and
fine.
There's the whole the difference there is like
overlord.
The Paizo games. There is a rule for everything, so it takes thinking out of the GM's hands because there is a rule for that basically. But at the same point in time, you have to remember the rule. Or just make it up on the fly. A lot of 5e stuff, like there's lots of rules for all that, but it also puts a lot more focus on like player creativity, playing loose with some of those decisions where the GM just goes, I'm making this call on the fly because there's not like hard and set rules for a lot of stuff. With the Paizo games, there are like hard and set rules. Like there's rules for like walking on a beam that's 6 inches wide versus 6 foot wide. Like there's DCs for that.
Yeah, well, and I want to piggyback off of that comment because that's absolutely true. So I run a 5e podcast, and
Slay the
honestly,
Stars, check them out. It's really good.
Yes, exactly.
So-
Does bring me to it.
I'm running a combat this weekend that is basically not 5e. It's basically an audio drama because we have outgrown the point where any of the rules make sense for God combat, right? And so, yes, and you see that in the way that I play Winnie, in that like the even though Paizo generally has very specific rules, their rules for Witch Warper make almost no sense. So like whereas
Witch Warper.
Yeah, so like whereas like everybody else, like there is a 6-inch beam walking rule 6 feet. With Witch Warper, they just say shit, and so then it becomes very much like a 5e game where I'm saying, okay, this is what it says I might be able to do. This is that, but like slightly different. Can I do this? And then letting him adjudicate it. And as you can tell, he doesn't love that because that's not the kind of GMing that he enjoys.
I think it helped.
I was going to say, it
occurred
occurred to me
immensely that you were in the exact same room as him. And you could just be like, but I want to.
It's even better when you're on a different couch and you can't hit each other.
It occurs to me that the two people at the table who are most commonly being like, hey, I want to do some stupid bullshit that's not in the rules are the people who are not Paizo people.
I mean, so to be fair, every other Monday night, this coming Monday night, this same Twitch channel is playing more Starfinder. We're currently playing the Mechageddon game.
And it's so good.
And I just want to say that Clue and Kate, and I'm the GM of that game, Clue and Kate both drive me fucking nuts with the ideas of what they want to do with their characters sometimes. Because it's a mech-focused campaign, and there's a lot of mech rules, and those mesh into the Starfinder rules. And sometimes it's like, it's kind of hard to make stuff make sense, so I'm just going to roll with the rule of fun. And fucking Clue's character just throws rocks. That's all he does.
It's immensely fun.
He does. It's so funny.
It's immensely fun.
He just throws rocks. He has a magic rock that is his favorite rock, and all he does is throw it. And all my kaiju die from one fucking hit because they're so fucking strong.
It's not my fault.
And then I can basically
in the core rule book
do any skill I want and be really good at it as long as I don't roll it terrible on the die.
They built it.
Mechageddon's a very cool AP, but it puts a lot more like responsibility on the GM to like be able to manage encounters, because the mech combat of Starfinder is basically a whole different system. It's not Starfinder; it's its own thing, basically.
I do want to shout out those last couple we've had.
It did make me feel good that I made Jenny pause at Gen Con when we explained what I did to him.
Yeah. We were describing Clue's character to Jenny Jerzwowski, who is the lead developer on Mechageddon, which is a Starfinder project. It's not a single individual. It's quite a few individuals that work on it, but Jenny is the main writer on it. Joe Blomquist is the first writer on the first part of it. But we were describing Clue's character, and she kind of looked like we insulted her with the idea that Clue was just bringing a giant who throws rocks. Because
I throws them really well, though.
Yeah, she's just like, how dare you bring a giant that throws rocks
giant
into
is David. God damn it! Nobody gets it.
Like, how dare you bring that into my Sailor Moon Gundam game, basically?
That's exactly how Jenny was.
I am gonna interject there a little bit, because I don't think that's and I don't have this relationship with her that you guys do. So like, obviously I'm only speaking for myself here, not the whole podcast, but I don't feel like that's an attitude you get to cop when you work at fucking Paizo.
No.
Because your entire
system wasn't like a proper insult. It's more like
your entire system is a power gamers paradise.
Yeah.
So you don't get to bitch about people exploiting your system when
Yeah.
you are building systems meant to be exploited.
No,
Like
it-
my preferred
Exploit
game.
my ass. Exploit my ass. I used like 2 of the oldest books that they have, the core rule book and the fucking like what? When did Giants come out? 2.
I actually don't own any of the physical Alien Archives books, so I don't know.
I'm not gonna go to the other room to go get them.
But yeah, like I would say her expression wasn't like insulting. It was just more like, oh,
Disbelief.
never thought of someone doing that. And I've talked to her since then. If people want to talk to the Paizo people, please reach out to them in their various social media. They will talk to you about their games and give you advice. If you're a GM running a Paizo game, talk to the writers. They will gladly talk to you about stuff and give you advice for like, hey, how do I handle, this weird mechanic that you probably it's in this game system, but you probably didn't plan for it to be used in this specific adventure.
Their choice with
Because
Starship
Starfinder is a pretty big
Max.
game system at this point. Like there's however many, there's a dozen or so books at minimum. Just
way more than
rule
that.
books. Like,
I'm gonna be real with you guys. If I didn't have a character creation assistant, I would never have finished this game.
Honestly,
personally, I don't like the exponential factor of the damage. They're like, oh well, it's such and such tier, so it does, it's mech level or whatever.
We
Just
all kind of
give us
agree.
more dice.
We all kind of agree of Leah's complaint about Starfinder, how certain DC should not scale with player level. We all do agree with that.
I also think that the idea that you can't upcast spells is bullshit. Like, if I know how to do something at first level and I want to do it at second level, I should be able to do that.
Yeah,
that's just a historical relic of the fact that it's based off of 3.x, and in 3.x they were advancing levels of the spell. They were separate spells that did the same thing at higher effectiveness, which is just historical bullshit.
Yeah. No, wait, I have one more thing. One more thing to say. It's true. They did do Witch Warpers dirty because you're a charisma caster, so you don't have any fucking skills. And at lower levels, you don't have that many fucking spells, and they're not that effective. So you can't do anything with your skills other than maybe talk good, and you can't cast very many spells. No, I said talk good, and that's what I meant.
Yeah.
So
it's a C at best.
This is why
just modifier is low.
Yes, that's exactly why I said
it. Because they have to beef up the 3 hit points, otherwise they're gonna die.
Yeah,
maybe if you weren't a 25-foot tall character.
So anyway, all of that to say, this is why I'm the only person not making a new fucking character, because I finally can do cool shit. I'm not abandoning this character when I can finally actually affect the outcome.
Just got used to these heals, y'all.
Without turning people's hands into flippers and taking their voice box away and shit.
All right, so quick couple points here. Giants came out in Ports of Call. That's actually one of the more recent books.
Oh, that is one of the more recent ones. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's like 2 books ago, actually.
Like I bookended it. CRB and Ports of Call.
Starfinder enhances the most recent.
There are 12 rule books and 4 Alien Archive books for Starfinder First Edition. And also, Jenny wrote book 2 of Signal Screams.
Ooh,
oh hell yeah!
If you guys don't know Jenny's work, Jenny is weird. I'm a big Jenny stan.
Yeah.
I love Jenny. I think she writes the coolest, weirdest shit ever. That usually breaks the system because she does write in a way that does not really consider the system's mechanics.
Good.
I
agree that is good.
Jenny Jarzynski is a she wrote one of the very first Starfinder Society games I played in. She was initially a Society writer ended up being like the society developer, and now she's the she just got a job promotion. She's like the
Senior
Starfinder
developer for
yeah,
second edition.
lead creative developer for Starfinder Second Edition. I
Yeah,
think.
that's what it is.
But she wrote if no one's ever played Society, my favorite Society game, which is Pack World Warriors, which is a
Oh god.
it is a game show based on Eox, which
Yeah,
is the
a lot of fun.
undead planet. So it is a undead game show that your
That's great.
characters participate in.
Please
fun.
tell me that it is based on like Japanese game shows.
It is
Probably.
I would say the first part is very Takeshi's Castle. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
Kitchen Nightmares in there.
Okay.
There's also just like you're just shooting at a zombie horde at one point. It's
I
a
just-
very fun
It's a very
society
kitchen
adventure.
sink approach.
I feel like we need to clarify something here that does just gloss over a little bit when it comes to Jenny. She is a giant weeb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, she
Yeah.
is.
When I met her, she was in a full pink jumpsuit. It was awesome.
Styled after the new Valor
styled
Defense
directly
Force
after the
from
NV.
Mechageddon.
Yes,
like
she is a
handing
giant
out-
weeb.
If you gave her the
Starfinder Day.
secret passcode, she would give you a secret patch for the new Valor Defense Force,
Yeah,
which is
What's
the
the
name of the
password?
organization from Mechageddon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you the password. You got to figure it out yourself.
No, maybe the password changes, so I just want to know the old one.
Well, you
God.
just gotta listen. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
call
cool,
out my
guys.
person. Like, yeah, look, Clute's got one too.
Yeah.
Throw rocks.
So, like I said, with that, that kind of puts a brings us to an end on Against Aeon Throne. I couldn't think of the actual word. It has been incredibly fun to run this with you guys. This was the first adventure path I ever ran for Starfinder. First thing I ever played for. Actually, no, I can't say played. This is the first thing I ever did with Starfinder in general. I definitely had a great time then. I had a much better time this time because you guys are wonderful players, and I appreciate you all very, very much.
You better hope none of your old players are watching. You just broke hearts.
Uh,
They're
they probably
weeping.
don't.
That
It'll be
sounds
fine.
like a them problem.
And
Haha, he likes us better.
yeah, so we will be, like I said, we're back. We're going to take a couple weeks off because of real life stuff, and then we're back to start Signal Screams, which I am super excited about. For those of you who do not know, and just as a reminder, it is a horror themed adventure path for Starfinder. It covers the mid levels from level 7 up to 13. My original plan for our next session was going to be just like introducing y'all's characters and some talking safety tools, but do you want to just touch on them real quick tonight while we still have a couple minutes?
Let's
We
do
should
it.
probably do those off stream though.
Hmm.
No, that's fair.
That's
But
fine.
yeah, we're going to be using them for this. There's good potential for that in this one. I think that's going to be a kind of a viewer beware thing as well there.
Yeah,
Do
I
we-
mean, because we can't really
Yeah.
trigger. I guess we can put trigger warnings like in the title, like, "Hey, trigger warning, everything." Like, I don't know.
Do we-
I mean, as you can tell from that little synopsis there, I teased at the end of our epilogue and everything like that. Yeah.
Do we want to give a little bit of a brief character sneak peek that we all are coming in with?
I'm playing a 27.5-foot tall butterfly.
Wait a minute, is
He at
this
least 30.
Did she shrink?
He at
this
least
different?
30.
Is this different than the 66.5-foot tall woman you just previously played?
Yes,
Okay.
slightly.
Slightly. No.
More deranged.
She was allowed to do a rebuild, guys.
Hold up. It's what you call a lateral.
A ladder, or like there's a ladder involved.
It's stilts
Yeah.
the whole
Well, I
time.
mean, 66 to 26, 27 and a half feet. It's that's quite a drop. Otherwise, you better have some stairs or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing an operative that uses some alternate operative features. So I'm going to be succeeding in every single skill check possible, hopefully. And
You should have done
Clues,
well.
Kay's gonna hate me for pretty much every sneak attack I do. So
Hell yeah.
I am going to be playing a long-suffering and beaten down gym monkey. And that is as far as I'll say on that topic today.
but what's your character like?
Well, he's not a public defender, so
Oh,
you know.
still not your lawyer though.
That's right. I'm still not your fucking lawyer. I was gonna sign off with that, but
Sorry I took it from you.
I'm starting to feel like I have a theme going on. I'm playing a cute little guy that likes rocks.
Okay, cool.
So you're autistic.
Spectrum, fucker. Everybody's on it.
But
that was oh.
And I am going to be once again game mastering this adventure and these crazy people through another adventure that is I'm trying to think how I can describe this without giving any spoilers away, because I kind of want to. It's going to start with everybody at a fantastic resort in the diaspora, which is the asteroid asteroid belt in the Pack system. And they get to, enjoy some free time, though, as we saw from those paying attention to Winnie's outro here, and the few things I said, not everything might be as it seems, and it's curious to see how this all goes. I straight up told you guys, this whole process, this first book, takes place over 2 weeks. So it's first couple sessions are going to be fairly chill, just a lot of role play and stuff as we
14
see
long rests. Okay.
what happens. From there, crazy shit's going to go down. It is going to involve your characters. It is going to do things to your characters. And your characters are going to have to solve, how do we stop this terrible thing from what's happening just from continuing, and how do we stop it from happening everywhere. And from there, well, things go dark. And they go hopefully spooky, and they go to a whole other plane of existence.
You know what's really hilarious about this, though?
Huh.
Is that this is my vacation notebook for the whole thing. It's super bright.
Perfect. I love it. That means Clue's actually taking
Super
notes.
calming. And it's going to be madness in here, like a serial killer at the
And
end.
your guys' characters are going to end this whole little 3-book adventure path with a chance to essentially prevent destruction from raining across everywhere in the galaxy in the verse.
I mean, isn't that most of the actual play things, though? You're just trying to.
It really
the
is.
chaos
These adventure paths are honestly designed to make your characters into big damn heroes who are famous.
That's what I want to do. That's it.
I
Well,
feel
if we
like
fuck it up,
this
Lemir's
is
not doing a reload
Fire
time.
Island before Fire Island,
And I'm just going to kind of sign this off tonight by again saying it's been a lot of fun, guys. I'm excited to see where Signal of Screams takes us. This is new territory for me because this is not an adventure path I have ever run. So it's going to be new for all of us. I hope
I'm
I
excited.
hope you enjoy it. Please look forward to it.
Should be fun.
Later, folks.
Yeah. All right.
Bye,
Thank you guys for watching.
everybody.
Bye,
Goodbye.
everybody. Goodbye.
Good night.
Bye.